Hi, everybody. Please forgive the casual garb here. I am officially on vacation. Yay! I love vacation. I am officially on vacation. So I just wanted to give you a preview of what was coming today. We've got a guest speaker today, Reverend EMILE GAUVREAU, one of my favorite people in the whole entire universe, my teacher, just a great overall human being. I know you'll really enjoy his talk. We have Faith Rivera doing the music today, and you guys, this music had me in tears. It's just awesome. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it, and a whole lot more. So sit back, relax, enjoy everything, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
Good morning, and welcome to the Centers for Spiritual Living Cape Coral. My name is Patrick O'Brien, and I am a practitioner student here at the center. And it is my privilege to be presenting the meditation for this morning. I invite you to get comfortable and relax in your seat, settling into the sacred space. When you are comfortable, I invite you to close the outer eye. And as we are closing the outer eye, let's release any connection to the day's activities right up until this present moment. And as we begin, I would set the intention for being mindful of the body, the mind, and the heart, making our breathing intentional and controlled, making it at a pace that is comfortable for you. Taking in a deep breath, holding that breath for just a moment, and then releasing. With each successive breath, notice any tension in your shoulders releasing and fading away. In the next breath, find that your arms are releasing any tightness that they hold. Have them comfortably resting in your lap. With the next breath, pay close attention to your torso and find that any tension there is also released. And with the next breath, find your legs becoming heavier and more relaxed within your chair. And finally, paying attention to our feet. They are becoming our anchors to Mother Earth. Now with the next breath, I want you to pay attention to the expansion of your chest. With each breath, the chest expands more fully. I want you to listen to your breathing and hear your heartbeat within that breath. There is a quietness and a calm enfolding you. It's in this quiet space we find that we can hear our inner voice. That voice that comforts, calms, and relaxes us. As we continue with the breathing and expanding of our chest and our heart, listen for that inner voice that comes from the heart. Listen to what it may be expressing. What ideas is it bringing forth? What emotion is surfacing? What thoughts are arising? I want you to embrace each of these ideas, each of these emotions, and each of these thoughts. For each is coming from the very center of your beingness. Keep paying attention to your inner self as your deep breathing continues? Is there a feeling of calmness in this moment? Is there a feeling of love and peace? Listen to what your soul is telling you. Some people call this intuition. Some people call it a gut feeling. There is comfort knowing that this place is the place within each and every one of us where spirit or God presents itself. Turning within is the perfect way to begin each day. By breathing quietly and deeply and becoming centered, we also become refreshed and attuned to our inner self. And as this is a nice, calm way to start the day, it is also a meditation that helps us when we find ourselves responding to the stresses of the everyday world. Any situation that we face that may be filled with anger, may be filled with confusion, doubt, or fear. The inner space that we connect to is our refuge, a place of calm, a place of love, a place of peace. This inner space is where we find our ability to restore our individual sense of serenity. Doing nothing more than simply turning within, we find the strength of spirit that lives there within us to return us to a space of grace and ease. The ability to turn within to this place is forever available to any one of us at any time of day, any time of night. It's a matter of just making that choice to go there. And it doesn't take but a moment to take those deep, intentional breaths, shutting our eyes ever so briefly and turning within, breathing into the calm, breathing into the peace, breathing into the love. And as we maintain our intentional breathing, staying into the consciousness of our inner God self, I'd like you to slowly bring your attention back to your feet. Wiggle your toes. Flex your ankles. Bring your attention back to your legs and move them ever so slightly. Bring your attention back to your torso. Still noticing the rise and fall of your chest as you breathe. Bring your attentions back to your arms. Wiggle your fingers. Flex your wrists. Stretch your arms out. And bring your attention back to your shoulders and your neck. Roll your head from side to side. Feel there is no tension. There is only relaxation. There is only freedom of movement. And when you are ready, open your eyes and become fully present to the time and space you occupy. I want to thank you for spending this time with me and hope you stay tuned for the rest of our celebration this Sunday. Namaste. God bless.
Good morning. Hello there. Happy day and welcome to the Sunday presentation from the Centers for Spiritual Living, Cape Coral. I'm Reverend David Renee Jennings, Associate Minister, and this is Vicki Jennings, our Music Director.
Hi, welcome. We wanted to let you know that wherever you are on your spiritual journey, we're so glad you chose to join us this morning. It's time for our blessing, so let's step into that right now. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. We know who you truly are. You are the spiritual image and likeness of God. We appreciate you, we love you, and we are grateful for you. Let us be the first to welcome you this morning to the Center for Spiritual Living presentation from Cape Coral, Florida.
Yes, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Thanks for tuning in. And by the way, tune into our Facebook page every day. We've got fresh content for you, inspiring hope and uplifting messages from our practitioner core day by day. Happy day. Thanks so much for being here.
Aloha Cape Coral CSL, it's Faith Rivera streaming to you from Hawaii. I'm so happy to be with you, to share my music with you. And here is a song about us relaxing, releasing, really surrendering fully to the greater good that wants to happen through each of us. This is I Will Surrender. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith. And I am stronger every moment, every day. My mind is willing and my heart is open wide. I trust my instincts and let spirit be my guide. I vow to live a life that's real and pure and free. As I continue walking in this mystery, I surrender to my greatest, highest good. I release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith. And I am grateful every moment, every day. There may be walls, there may be roadblocks in my way, but I can choose to take a higher path each day. And now I know what I thought was safe and sound was only habit and regret that held me down. I surrender to my greatest, highest goal. I release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure every day. I'm more loving every moment, every day. I am stronger every moment, every day. Oh, I'm grateful every moment of every day. I surrender every moment, every day.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and happy Sunday, everyone. My name is Melissa Tuff, and I am a practitioner student at the Center for Spiritual Living, Cape Coral. It is my great pleasure to bring you our reading and prayer for today. And so in preparation for this, I went over the materials that we were provided for the week, and if you've been following along, our theme for the month is Listen to Your Heart. This week, we are focusing on these hands in reference to what is mine to do. And so one of the quotes that was presented to us for this week was from the Science of Mind textbook by Ernest Holmes. And the quote is, "We cannot enter the gate of good with a sword in our hands." So it's actually a quote out of an excerpt actually out of a meditation. And I'd like to share just a bit more of it to expound sort of on this idea. So here we go. As we dip deeply into our divine natures, let us realize that entering the secret presence of this tabernacle of God, we will, like the pilgrims of old, have to shed that which does not belong to the kingdom of good. We have to deliberately drop that which would hurt. We cannot enter this gate of good with a sword in our hands. So we let go of everything and turn to that divine depth within our own nature, wherein the Spirit of God, the Spirit of love, and the Spirit of peace dwells with calm serenity. We withdraw into that place within us which has never been hurt, nor has ever been sick, has always and forever lived in divine and eternal peace, the kingdom of God, which is good. In this inner kingdom within is all peace, all power, and all perfection. We drop all hate, all fear, all animosity, all resentment. We cast out of our consciousness every doubt and every sense of uncertainty. We know that we are entering into that atmosphere of wholeness, of happiness, and completion, where there is no fear, no doubt, no uncertainty, no lack, and no want. Here is wholeness, perfection, peace, power, beauty, love, supply, and life. We know that the abundance of this life is showered upon us, that we are guided and guarded into right action, into right decision, daily, hourly, minutely. The principle of intelligence directs us. The presence of life, love warms us. The presence of God covers us. And we are led into the pathway of this peace, into the knowledge of this perfection. This is just such a great reading, so let's take those thoughts into prayer. I invite you to join me in closing your outer eye and settle into this space of peace and of gratitude. And it is from this space that I know there is only one thing happening right now, and that is that God, that good, that divine knowledge, that infinite intelligence, that limitless source of supply. I call this life, I call it love, I call it beauty, I call it joy, and I call it God. And I know that because there is only one, that I have to be a part of it. And I know this same truth for each and every entity on this planet and beyond. I know that as we extend from this oneness, that each unique and divine expression of God in human form goes out into the world to do what is theirs to do. I know that what is ours to do comes to us gracefully and easily. I know that the tasks are completed with great joy, with great peace, with happiness, and most of all, with love. I know that what we are here to do is to love and to companion for one another. And I know that as we grow closer in that connectivity, in that space and centeredness of God, I know that each and every one of us is blessed and divinely guided into the greater expression of ourselves yet to be. And so it is for this and so much more that I am just so very grateful, and I express my gratitude by releasing my word to the law of mind, knowing that it is done. I lay it down and I let it be. And so together we can affirm this by saying, and so it is. Amen. So thank you guys for joining me so much today, and namaste.
Well, good morning, everyone. Here we are. This is my second ever remote broadcast. I guess that's what I'm doing, and my first ever pre-recorded broadcast. So I am coming to you live on Thursday afternoon here from Sarasota, Florida. So wherever you are, and definitely to all my friends in Cape Coral, the Cape Coral Center, good morning. Blessings to you all. And I am very excited to be with you today. I'm very excited to be giving this talk, mostly because I'm very excited about the topic. I've been following the monthly themes of the Centers for Spiritual Living for the last year or so through the center that I attend here in Sarasota, the Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Coast. And this month's theme is Listen to Your Heart, and has had a lot of meaning for me this past few weeks, because I've been sort of renewing my relationship with listening to my heart. It's and you might say, for those of you that know me, that what happened? And it was a long journey, but the ending is happy in that I began to realize that I was not so much in touch with my spiritual nature or my heart or my still small voice, as I've liked to call it since I first heard about it. And as I look back, I found, I found myself asking, how do I listen to my heart? How do I hear what message is in my heart? And what I remembered through all of my study previously is that I have to be able to hear that still small voice, that voice of spirit that's within me. And then I started to understand that part of what I had been missing, or what was missing in my life, was a regular spiritual practice. And then I came to last week's message, which I delivered for the center in Falls Church, Virginia, that was Your Path Made Clear. And as I started to get more into, well, what does that mean? And my path being clear and hearing my clear path, I knew I had to hear the voice of spirit within. I knew I needed to be in that space even more so than I had been getting myself in touch with. And so then coming into this week and today's topic of these hands, which is really, I think, has dual meaning. We talk about our hands. I can't get my hands around it. Well, what does that really mean? It's we're trying to understand something, and by getting it in hand, we get something in hand. And what can I do with my hands? I need to have my hands busy. And very often it doesn't mean that we're actually physically using our hands, but we're getting engaged in a way that's different than we might not be might be engaged in at another time. And as I started to think about it, and there's always a wonderful inspirational message that Edward Villion, the new spiritual leader of Centers for Spiritual Living, puts together. And I was starting to read through it and listen to him speak. And what came to me so loud and clear, just one of those things that I needed to put the other, so strongly that I needed to put the other stuff aside. And it was the memories I have first going to the Agape Center in Los Angeles and hearing the opening piano chords of a song that became one of the underpinnings of my life for so long. And it's a song called Use Me. And there are 2 lines, well, maybe it's 4 lines in the song that just really came strongly into my mind in this moment. And they go, command my hands, what must they do? Command my hands, what must they do? And then command my life, it's here for you. And the first time I heard that, and the first weeks I heard that, because it was like an every Sunday thing for a while, was, what does that mean? What does that really mean? And there were motions that the audience and the choir, when the choir was singing the song, would make, and it was like, oh my goodness! And when they say "command my hands," they put their hands out open and like ready to receive. And command my life, they'd actually hug their body temples and sing that, command my life, it's here for you. And at first I had no concept. I was like, what are they, what is it? Why are they closing their eyes and looking so meaningful about these words? And then I started to listen. I started to listen to the messages, started to really hear the messages. I started to hear the common themes in the message, because it's really all sorts of ways we express our oneness, whether it's in a reading or whether it's in a Sunday talk or in the classes. We start to learn more and more about how to get in touch with that inner self, that part of us that is not always evident to us because we're so much in our heads and in the mind and doing things. We talk about get out of the doingness and get into beingness, that we're human beings, not human doings, all these kinds of things that we use to try to describe the process of going from being an outer focused individual to being an inner focused individual. And learning that even though we're talking about ourselves being inner focused, we're inner focused in terms of our guidance, not our action. So we can be inward focused and knowing ourselves and knowing our true path and hearing that still small voice. And I believe be even more effective in the world of doing, the world of getting things done, the world of participating with other people, the world of that is basically out there. But first, to be out there and be effective and be the kind of individual that we truly want to be, we have to know ourselves in here. And so as I was starting to share earlier, I'd gotten to where I had kind of a intermittent spiritual practice. I retired almost 4 years ago now, and sort of thought I could take a little holiday from spiritual activities for a while, because I've been so into them and enjoying them, yes, but just sort of backed off and found things were okay for a while, and then I started to feel like I was getting carried away with other things and that were not necessarily productive, that I was not feeling as good about myself, not feeling as good about people around me, and so on and so forth, and even found myself kind of withdrawing to a degree. And long story short, I had a serious awakening almost a year ago now, when I had an emergency open heart procedure and had 2 arteries bypassed. You know, it's a little disconcerting when you wake up not knowing that you were going to have the procedure in the first place. They were just going to do some diagnostic work, and lo and behold, you know, the next thing I knew, it was almost 14 hours later, and they were telling me I'd had arteries bypassed and that my chest had been opened up, boom, you know, wide open. You know, after the anesthesia and the painkillers wore off, I knew that my chest had been opened the way it wasn't really designed to be open, I don't think. So anyway, that sort of put me through a process where I started to be a little more contemplative, a little more reflective on who I was and why I was. And I started to be reminded of how I had come to be in touch and more centered and more available as a human being. And the answer just kept coming back like a flashing light. Practice, practice, practice. I went through a cardiac rehab program where for 9 weeks, where one of the components for an hour, the 4-hour session, was relaxation. And it was sort of a combined yoga / meditative experience for an hour. I started to get back in touch with things, started to get back in touch with me. And then I got a new cardiologist. And she said, well, all your labs look good, all your, you know, you're okay with your medications for the time being, we'll review in the future. She says, I do have a new prescription. I said, well, what's that? She said, an hour of meditation per day. An hour of meditation. I said, oh my goodness. I've been doing a few minutes here and there, but I haven't been doing an hour. And she said, well, you have the kind of heart disease that's unusual because you have low cholesterol and you build a plaque in your arteries anyway. So it must be stress and other factors. And one way to address that is through meditation. And I felt drawn to the idea. It was like, oh, well, I can do that. And then I started to actually do it. And as I started to sit and be still, I started to remember the other things that I used to do as part of my overall practice that brought it together for me. And what was that? Well, there are really 4 things. There's the meditation, as I just mentioned, and we'll talk about some more. Prayer, which of course as a practitioner, you know, we learned pray early on, and we learn it in I think it's pretty much in the first class, in the foundations class, and when my wife Deborah and I were at Agape, we had prayer partners starting with our very first class. And spiritual reading is a second one, and this comes from one of my favorites, Joel Goldsmith. He talks about do the reading. Almost any of the spiritual authors, he wasn't even promoting himself. And then taking classes. So meditation, lots of people have told me, because I've taught, you know, how to meditate several times. Oh, I can't do it. I can't sit still. I can't be still. Somewhere in each of us is a place where we can learn to be still. and whether we need a particular kind of music. One student in class found that if she listened to what we call Native American drumming, she just was in a very happy place relative to meditation. Some people need absolute quiet. Some people are better off maybe outside or with some sort of focal object. You find your way, but there is a way. And the first thing really about it is to learn just to sit still. Many of us can't do that. I was definitely one of those people who, it's like, sit still and sit still for an hour. Are you out of your mind? I can't do that. I have trouble sitting still. When I'm at my desk in an office or whatever, I'm up and down. I'm getting coffee. When I used to work in a professional office, I'm wandering around. I couldn't even sit still on the phone. If I was on a phone call, and it was really difficult with the wired phone, I was pacing in my office. So I had to learn to sit still. Quiet my body, quiet my legs, like to bounce, quiet, everything about me, and to gradually learn how to tune out the distractions. And one of the things that really did help me there was a prayer practice, because as I started to do my meditation, I found that if I did a prayer and centered myself in I'm aware of there only being one thing, that thing being spirit, and that I am one with spirit, and I know the truth of myself is that I'm whole, perfect, and complete, and that I am grateful for this knowledge and this wisdom that comes to me, through me, and I release it knowing it's already done. Now, of course, you can figure out your own 5 steps and the words you want to use. And that centered me. That brought me more to myself. And I've coupled that over the years with various mantras. The one I'm using right now is a combination of 2, really. One is, it goes, there's only one life. That life is perfect. That life is God's life, and that life is my life. And I follow that with, I know that my body temple flows with perfect assimilation, that it's taking things in, circulation, moving them around, heart, lungs, all that good stuff, digestive, and elimination and releasing what I don't need. So I know the food I take in, building my body, and then there's stuff that gets carried away, right? So meditation, prayer, and building the practice around that. Spiritual reading, right now I'm reading Christian D. Larson, one of my favorites, who wrote, he was contemporary with Ernest Holmes, wrote a little bit earlier than Ernest did. I think he published in 1910 or 12, and Ernest's first book came out, I believe, if I remember correctly, 1919 or so. A little while ago, either way. And, don't have to read a whole book at one sitting. I read a page, page and a half, sometimes 2 pages, depending on how connected the paragraphs seem to be. And people say, oh, I can't read that, especially Ernest Holmes. I can't read Ernest Holmes. And if you've come across that, where you pick up Ernest and somehow you just can't follow his language, but this is what you're experiencing. It's very similar to the first time you did virtually anything new. If you've gone bowling, the first time you were probably awkward. If you've played golf, the first time you were awkward. If you've gone scuba diving, or even, did a new dance if you're a dancer, or play an instrument, or learn a new song, or sing a new song, or make a new recipe. I like to make new recipes, but I'm not a great chef. So the first time I'm wondering if I'm doing the stuff right. I'm uncomfortable. Ernest Holmes and any of the spiritual writers, as you read them and really try to understand, they're going to create a certain amount of discomfort because your mind is trying to say, what? What are they talking about? And really, reading them is part of your meditative practice because you have to sort of turn off that monkey mind that wants to question and argue and read more from your heart space to allow it to flow in, to take it in. You might have to read a paragraph or a sentence multiple times. I know I did. Sometimes I reread them because it was very exciting because I got it like right away, and other times it'd be like, huh? What's he trying to say there? I don't get it. And then the other piece to me that's just critically important is taking classes. And you say, well, I've taken a lot of classes. I don't need to take any more classes. If you take a class, then you got to read. There's all sorts of things that, when I first started hearing about classes, I thought all those things. I've taken hundreds of classes. I can read and understand the stuff on my own. Well, I read a ton of stuff. And then it's like, I need to understand this better than I understood it just reading by myself. And I took that first class. I was uncomfortable again. I was definitely uncomfortable because I thought everybody else knew more than I did about it. But I found out in the classes that nobody knew any more about it than I did. Even the teachers sometimes were at a place where they were saying, I'm learning more about this every time I teach this class. I'm learning more about this every time I reread that page for a class or just on my own. And in the classes, you hear, number one, that other people are asking the same questions as you. Other people are having the same difficulties understanding the materials or sitting still in meditation or knowing, where to go with their spiritual practice. So you hear other ideas, you hear other ways of handling it. So you have a foundation in understanding. So for me, the foundation of this spiritual practice, or the four keys to the spiritual practice, are the meditation, again, prayer, spiritual reading, and spiritual classes. Now, I know the classes are being offered at the center, and they're good classes because I've taught them or I've taken them. In that process I described that started me back on my path to spiritual practice, I took a class. Took an 8-week class last fall. And now I'm actually in the process of preparing to teach some classes through the center here in Sarasota. So we move through these things, but we need to have that target of becoming still and hearing our inner voice, hearing that space within, hearing that direction. Finding our true path. And if you're feeling out of it in some way, feeling like you don't have a direction, feeling like you're questioning everything, feeling like something is missing, all sorts of different feelings we might have, dissatisfied. Like me, you're probably not centered. You're probably not in a space where you can hear that spirit voice within you that is there to guide you all the time. The thing that the concept I got from all of my studies and reading early on was that voice is always speaking. It's just our ability to stop and listen that's the problem. And it's like, well, I want to be able to listen. I need the ears that can hear, the eyes that can see, to pick up the message that's coming through. And oh my God, what a wondrous thing that happens as you do that. How great you can be, how great life can be, how joyous we can be in that. And you don't need to be meditating for an hour and take an hour to do all this. You can take 10 minutes. but then you're going to want to take 15 and 20 and 30 because it will feel good. I guarantee if you get centered in these 4 practices that you will start to feel better and you will want to spend more time bringing yourself to center, bringing yourself to that place where you're hearing the voice, getting to that place where you know what your path is. We'll always have questions, but when you have the general idea of how you want to do things and what you are going to do, the choices become a lot more clear and easier to make, and life becomes easier. I know that over the last 2 or 3 months now, I think it's almost 4 months that I've been on the hour of meditation a day, I've become happier. I am a happier person today than I was before I restarted what had been the kind of practice I used to have. And I know, and I'm just extremely grateful to know it. I'm extremely grateful to be able to talk about it. As a minister, you'd say, "Wait a minute, you lost your way." Yeah, it's a little odd to be admitting that. I think most ministers might not, but it does happen. It happened to me, and I am just so glad that it's unhappening. That I'm moving forward into this new way, this new voice, this new excitement I have for everything that is around me. It's a little unusual doing a talk, sitting in a chair, but to be in front of the computer and make sure you all hear me on the recording, I found that that's kind of what I have to do. So, again, find your comfortable spot, your comfortable way of meditating. Find your way to the spiritual practice, the practices of prayer and reading and classes. And as you learn to be comfortable in those things, you will learn to be comfortable in your skin. You will learn to know the answer to command these hands. What must they do? Command my life. It's here for you. You will understand the meaning. You will be on the path to using your hands, your heart, your soul, your body productively in your own life, in the life that you want to live. So let's take a moment in prayer. So I know that there is indeed only one power and one presence. One spirit, one love, one joy, one peace, one infinite energy that is flowing in, through, and as all of its creations. And I know that I, as well as everyone listening to this message, is of the sum and substance of that one spirit, of the very nature of that spirit, that it flows through each one uniquely and divinely and fully energized and fully orbed all the time. And what I know in my heart of hearts, what I hear and glean from that still small voice speaking with me, that when we take the time to stop and center and listen, we get the answers to what we must do, how we must be, how that our hands may serve, how we may put our hands around any situation and any purpose, how we are to live, how our lives have been designed to serve. And yes, we serve the one, but we serve ourselves and we serve everyone around us. For as we are lifted, all those around us are lifted. And I know that that is indeed the truth for each and every one. And so as I know that truth that as you are lifted, as I am lifted, we lift each other higher and higher because we become the shining example of the way to be on this earthly plane. That the world is a better place that it is a place where we can love and be and enjoy the life we've been given. So for this and so much more, I am so eternally grateful. I just am overwhelmed with the gratitude for this wisdom that passes through me to you. And I release this word into the law of mind, into that one space of creative activity, knowing that as it is flowing out, that it is lifted into a new and higher place and expanded in the lives of each one of us as we move forward from this moment on. And so with that great confidence of knowing that it is already done, I simply say, and so it is. Namaste.
Good morning. My name's Kay Atwood, and I'm part of the Leadership Council here at the Center for Spiritual Living Cape Coral. And now is your time to show gratitude for what's happened here today. And there are many ways to do that. You can text to the number that is on the screen right now. Simply follow the prompts, put in the number, and approve the amount you'd like to donate. And it's easy. And also, you can make donations from your bank account as a withdrawal every month, or you can use the donate button that is on Facebook. And remember, when you're shopping with Amazon, to use the Smile option, which gives a percentage of the purchase to CSL Cape Coral. And now, join me in our tithing affirmation, please. Today I know the activity of divine abundance is at work in my life and the life of this center. I give and receive generously as I live in the flow of bountiful good. And as we thank you now for your tithing, I'd like to read this prayer. With appreciation and love, we accept these offerings and gifts. Divine love, through me, blesses each gift and each giver. I know that all that has been given here circulates to do great work, both within the spiritual community and in the world at large. Standing in gratitude, I release these words. So please join me in saying, and so it is.
Even though we're thousands of miles apart, truly we are one in the mind and heart of God. So thank you again, Cape Coral CSL, for inviting me into your hearts, into your community. This is Thing Called Life, inspired by our one and only Ernest Holmes. Today is the day I will change my luck. I will find 3 pennies and they'll be heads up. I will walk like a queen in my tennies and jeans, 'cause I know where I come from. From the stars and the sun, from that magical one, I am part of this thing called life, yeah. From the known to unseen, everything in between, I am part of this thing called life. I am one with this thing called life. Today is the day I'll remember to see. Only God, only good happening through you and me. I will not forget all the treasures due me, 'cause I know where I come from. From the stars and the sun, from that magical one, I am part of this thing called life. Yeah, from the known to unseen, everything in between. I am part of this thing called life. I am one with this thing called life. Today is the day I'll be more of myself, love my skin, where I've been, and everyone else. No more push, no more pull, simply flow as I go, 'cause I know where I come from the stars and the sun, from that magical one. I'm part of this thing called life. Yeah, from the known to unseen, everything in between. I am part of this thing called life. Yeah, from the stars and the sun, from that magical one. I am part of this thing called life. Yeah, from the known to unseen, everything in between. I am part of this thing called life. I am one with this thing called life. I am loved, oh so loved, by this thing called life. Thank you.
And now it's time to stand in the light. When we stand in the light, we stand knowing the truth about a situation, what we'd like to see unfold. So I'm standing in the light for each and every one of you, knowing that each and every intention is clear as a bell, that we can tune in to that soul, the voice of the soul speaking to us. And the result is more harmony, more peace, more joy, more prosperity than ever. I invite you to write your intention, your standing in the light intention, in the comment box. If you're in YouTube, there's one there. If you're in Facebook, there's one there. Or you can visit our website at cslcapecoral.org and leave a prayer request, and we will definitely hold your intention with you through this week. So let me speak a short blessing over all of these intentions. I know right here and now that every single intention here has been heard. It has been heard. It is anchored in the truth of spirit, of God, of law, and is unfolding with great grace, ease, joy, and poise right here and now. For this, I am grateful and thankful. So let's anchor this with saying, and so it is. So be it.